I was asked to design something for the south side of this church. And the church is actually just a rectangular shaped box and doesn't have any face to the road. The only window is this wall, except I think it's 3 or 4 small windows on the other side high up. I decided to first structure the site very three-dimensional and then to have dalle de verre or slab glass, as you say. Some are close to the outside and some are inside. It all changes. It has all the color, all the light, all the power on one side. Maybe I wouldn't do that today. At this time I wanted to do art. People shouldn't realize from looking at them, has the architect done it himself? That would be a compliment for me. It shouldn't look like something added to the building.
You can find a very strong thread in all of Poensgen's work, or not all, but in the last 30 years, there's a very strong thread in his work, which is pattern capturing light, pattern expressing light, pattern exploring light, pattern modulating light.
He has ways of layering work and using kind of the interference and refraction of and effects of light in ways that are absolutely, they're subtle and mysterious to me. I have to spend a very long time to try and figure out what Poensgen is doing often.
It's all panels about this size. It's difficult to realize from outside where one panel begins and the next, due to vertical strips of concrete that makes it a little bit three-dimensional. And then they are exactly in the angle, against the angle of the roof. What I always liked and still like is a field of grass and the wind. It's a regular structure, but then by wind it moves. I try to create a little bit of this more or less random movement in it.
It is kinetic, but it starts with a pattern. He has to have some sort of structure to hold the light and to play with the light. And of course there has to be a structure to just hold up the glass.
What is my final product? It's not the window, and it's not, even if it is a series of windows, it's not the series of windows, but it's what they do to the space. Or does my contribution to a building affect people emotionally? How do they feel with that? I doubt whether I would have become a good painter or sculptor, but I think I could have become an architect. It's very important to me, how does a window look from outside? It's not only from inside. And the better it looks, it becomes part of a building, of an architecture. In the case of St. Andreas in Essen, I tried to create a light that was similar to the original glass blocks, because I wanted to respect the architect's concept of the whole thing and not to make these windows too much art. It's strange for an artist. Well, what are glass blocks? They are neither transparent nor opaque. They are not transparent, but they distort the view to the outside, and by this distortion they create a brilliant light. And by not being transparent, they make users of a space feel visually protected. It's sort of a wall and not of a window opening. My solution for Andreas is to first divide the 5 by 5 meter units by a steel framework, and then I have singular panels of about a square meter, and to fill these square meters opening by 3 layers of glass. To the outside it's a tempered security glass that has acid etched lines because I wanted to have the sheets of glass less shiny. The inside layer is just reeded glass, and the reeds are always parallel to the framework and to the floor. In between is a third panel, and that's the art. It is composed by a gray machine-made colored glass, no texture at all, and again reeded glass, but then in different angles. So by visually overlapping these reeds create a sort of a kinetic effect. Sometimes one corner looks a little bit green or color from the trees behind, so it visually interacts with the outside a little bit. Just enough to give the feeling of being encaged in this church. Well, we come to the question whether a complex context makes it difficult to integrate my own work. It doesn't at all. In the Hohenekirche, there are the wall paintings and given colors of the columns. So all these things, they made it really easy for me. I just had to forget myself and to answer to them. There was no question of what color I would have liked, maybe a blue or whatsoever. It wouldn't fit there. So in terms of scale, I had the painted wall tapestries. I had, in terms of colors, I had the given colors. I cannot think if it's a medieval building, would they have liked my solution? Because that's a stupid question.
He talked about visual quotation. It was just as if a musician was paying a tribute to Bach or Beethoven, and they took just a few little notes, from a symphony and placed it in the middle of a very contemporary piece of music. He put these visual quotations in his windows. It made total sense to me, and I thought it was a very respectful thing for him to do in terms of the history of the building and a way to bridge the gap.
The light is always most prominent, and he tries to make the pattern subtle. And is very successful at doing that by eliminating the structure as much as possible and having it just expose the raw edges of the glass which capture the light. He's not emphasizing the structure, he's emphasizing the light.
We artists, we shouldn't be the most important thing in an architecture. That's artist behavior, huh? Look at me.